Now, welcome back. And to politics. The wranglings rocking the Labour Party in Enugu State has assumed a dangerous dimension following alleged plans by more elected members of the party to defect to other parties. The Labour Party took everybody by surprise when it won majority of the House of Representatives seats in Enugu and 2 out of the 3 senatorial seats in the state during the 2023 general elections. The party also won majority of the seats in the State House of Assembly, a development that forced many to believe that it would be a party to beat in future elections. But investigations revealed that the party is seriously engulfed in internal wranglings over the decision of some of its elected members to defect to other parties. Now, joining me to discuss this, I'm joined by Labour Party's deputy governorship candidate in Edo State, Mr. Monday Mahwa. Mr. Monday, good evening.
Good evening. It's a pleasure to be here again.
Great. Now, let's talk about these wranglings that are rocking the Labour Party in Enugu State. It's assumed a dangerous dimension, as we've found out. Now, following alleged plans by more of these members to move to other parties, to defect to other parties, how worried are you about the development?
Honestly and sincerely speaking, the development currently going on in Labour Party is worrisome. And I want to say without missing words that the leadership prowess that our members that have been elected to the houses of assembly, especially from our presidential candidate, they are not getting it. That is in person of His Excellency Peter Obi. It's not provided that needed leadership, and people are now worried as to what is their fate in Labour Party. Now look at the past 2 weeks now, what has engulfed the party. Abure said is now the owner of the party. The Apapa group are there. NLC came up now. So as we speak today, I can tell you categorically that we are now in what the renowned and prolific writer Chinua Achebe described in his book, The Things Fall Apart, that the things fall apart when the center can no longer hold. I think things seem to be falling apart, unfortunately, in our party, and I attribute that to lack of positive leadership. And I want to use this opportunity to call on His Excellency Peter Obi to provide the needed leadership for the party at the moment, because as a presidential candidate of the party, he is the leader of the party. So he must not look away while things are going in a wrong dimension. For instance, the issue that has snowballed to this extent, which was initially between Alhaji Apapa and Julius Abure. If Peter Obi has stepped into that matter from the onset, my brother, I can assure you that we will not have been where we found ourselves today. Unfortunately and sadly, Peter Obi didn't say anything. He didn't do anything. All we people expected from that onset, from the initial stage, was for a father to call the children together, because as a leader of the party, it's not by age, by divine privilege. He was the one that was handed over the ticket of the party to run the presidential for the presidential of the party. So he is deemed to be the father, the leader of the party. And so when that issue started, what I expected was for him to call the two factions together, and like Papa Abure, let's sit on the round table. What is actually going on? What is the dispute? What is the issue? What is the grievances? But none of that was done. And from there, the thing snowballed to legal issues. And the thing continued to where we are today. On Wednesday, as you were aware, Abure conducted a convention in which stakeholders of the party were not invited, or they were not involved. INEC, by virtue of Section 82, ought to be involved in any convention or primary of the party. They were not there. The presidential candidate of the party in the last presidential election was not there. the caucus of the National Assembly and members of the National Assembly, they were not there. And so some few persons were handpicked and then locked up in a room, and they call it convention. That is where we are today. So it is worrisome, and I can tell you for free, if we continue like this, more depression will hit our party.
Okay, then, Monday, I've got more questions for you. Now, I hear your point asking for the presidential candidate of the party to actually step in and help out with the situation. But let's talk about the defections that are happening inside of the party. Do you think that there are any other incentives that are making people move from that party to the PDP especially? Might there be?
I didn't get that.
I'm asking if you think that these defections, people moving from the LP to other parties, whether they're incentivized by any means, perhaps maybe financially, do you think?
Well, first, the defection we all saw in Enugu State is a violation of Section 109, Sub 1, Paragraph G of the 1999 Constitution as amended. That section prohibits a member of the Assembly who was elected by or on the platform of a political party and who decide to defer to another political party during the tenure of his office. The constitution, that provision prohibits it. And I can tell you for free, and I know if not for the legal crisis in our party at the moment, by now we ought to have kickstart legal issue against those members that have defected from our party to the People Democratic Party, because that defection is a violation of Section 109, Sub 1, Paragraph G of the 1999 Constitution as amended. So they stand to lose their seats because they have violated that provision of the Constitution. And the law is that the Constitution is sacrosanct. It is a ground norm that everyone must obey. So they have no right, they have no other justification. The crisis in the party, notwithstanding, that does not give them the right to defect that political party during the pendency or during the tenure of their office.
Okay, then, Monday, what about in Enugu State now with these defections?
So
how is it going to affect
for what they have done?
All right, Monday. How is this going to affect the balance of power in Enugu State, these defections?
There is no more balance of power. What you now have in Enugu State now is a state without an opposition. Because before now, one of the strongest opposition voice in Enugu State used to be PDP. And Labour Party, I beg your pardon. And don't even forget, if not for some anti-party activity that some of our members played in Enugu State, we were even supposed to win Enugu State. We are supposed to form the government in Enugu State. But unfortunately, immediately after the presidential election, some person came up on air to say, well, if you see any other credible candidate, you can go and vote him other than your own party candidate. Because I remember with the Labour Party fielded a candidate in Enugu State for the gubernatorial election. But when some of the leaders of the party made some insinuation to the extent that you can now vote any candidate of your choice, who you feel is more credible, it is quite unfortunate because as far as I'm concerned, the party presented a very credible candidate in Enugu State. The same thing in Ebonyi State. Of course, if you follow the situation in Ebonyi State, the leader of our party, Peter Obi, was in Ebonyi to even say, well, you can vote any candidate of your choice. And I feel that is uncharitable for the Labour Party. How will you come up to say they can vote any other party of their choice when you didn't preach that during the presidential election? So it should not, it should be, if you're a leader of a party, you must be a leader for all, not just, it should not be about your own aspiration. It should also be about the aspiration of other person within your party. Within your party. So there is no more, they can't even talk about any balance of power anymore. The PDP now have their way in Enugu State. And you know, the beauty of democracy is opposition.
So I want to ask a question regarding, I know you've spoken about the legality of moving from the Labour Party to any other party from before, but My question now is, with what's happening inside of the Labour Party, do you think that this might motivate any principal member to move to any other party? And if this does, what does that mean for the upcoming elections?
Well, as far as first, the way the things are going now, if we don't put our heart in order, I can tell you, my brother, it will definitely affect the forthcoming off-season gubernatorial election in Edo State, in which, of course, I am the deputy governorship candidate in that state. But again, don't forget, the Obibide movement originated principally from Edo State. And as I speak to you today, the senator representing Edo South, which is the largest senatorial district, is from the Labour Party. So I still believe, I'm still hoping that before September 21st, which is the date for the gubernatorial election in Edo State, we would have been able to put our house in order. And I can tell you for free, Labour Party will form the next governorship, the next government in Edo State, because I can assure you, if we're able to put our house in order, we are going to have a landslide victory in Edo State. Because I know what I'm talking about. We are on ground in all the local government in Edo State, except for just some of this internal wrangling within our party. So I'm hopeful and I'm praying that in no distant time, Peter Obi will take the center role or play the leadership role in our party in a view to see that all of this internal crisis is brought to an end.
Well, Monday, thank you very much. That's a good way to end this conversation. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.